Well, welcome to another episode of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. I'm your host, Michael. Joining me this week, live from Trinidad, What You Need. Joining us live from Taiwan, Sean Newton, Jacob Rivera, as well as Daniel Carpio. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Cool.
Hello.
And also joining us, he just joined us right now from the UK, live from the UK, EJ Boxing Live. What's going on, brother?
EJ!
Yo, what's up, people? How you doing, man?
What's going on? For
Everything's. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, for anybody who's new to Pound for Pound Boxing Report, Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live. Somebody needs to mute their mic. I'm hearing some television in the background. Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show /blog/podcast that discusses all things boxing. The motto is, when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When boxing is bad, we will talk about it. Bottom line is, if it concerns boxing, we will talk about it. If you want to find more information about the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, just go to the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. The link, you look to the right of the blog page, you will see the links to where to find us all over the internet, all over the interwebs, all over social media. Links to find us on Facebook, on G+, on Tumblr, on YouTube, the Twitter handle. Got a Pinterest board, link to find us on Stitcher Radio, on Flipboard Magazine, on Podomatic. We can catch all the previous podcast episodes. The email address as well as the RSS feed if you want to check us out there. Subscribe via RSS feed. Let's get this show started tonight, fellas. Doing a recap of what happened last week. I don't know if everybody saw this card. A nice little triple header of upcoming fighters Saturday in Las Vegas on Showbox. The headline. Well, the main event, if you will, the highlight fight was Bermain Stiverne scoring a 10-round winner with David Benavidez. Stiverne, he didn't look great. He got knocked down, but his size and his power ultimately proved the difference, and his talent at the end of the day. I'll just open it up for everybody here. Your impressions of Stiverne in this fight. His performance, the way he looked in the ring, was meh. It was okay. It wasn't great. He certainly looked better, but overall impressions, again, I'll just open it up for everybody. Unmute your mics, please. Your thoughts on Bermain Stiverne, his first bout since his loss to Deontay Wilder in January. Anybody? Or did nobody, or did y'all, everybody miss it? Go ahead.
I'll start. I mean, I've never thought of Stiverne as that great of a heavyweight. I mean, the heavyweight division itself is weak. So when somebody comes and wins a few fights, they're like the next thing. So he didn't look good. I mean, he had a long way off. He was coming off. I think when he fought Wilder, didn't he have some type of sickness or? I mean, he was in pretty bad shape. So, I mean, I didn't expect too much. He should have probably done more, but he's gonna have to get more fights under his belt before he gets back into the mix.
For anybody else who saw the fight, your comments, please.
I mean, it is his first fight after coming back, so I mean, you can understand that he may have some rust and have to get some rounds in to sort of get himself back into the position where he was before the Wilder fight. So I don't think we can really judge him too much for an inconsistent performance. But on saying that, I mean, what is Stiverne's best win? Against Arreola. So, I mean, he's never been a guy that's been really the top of the stack. I mean, that was shown when he did fight Wilder, who people have questions about, and lost pretty handily. So, I mean, we still have to see what he does in his next fight. Hopefully he gets in there with somebody good. Well, like a top American fighter to be able to sell a fight. Maybe a guy like Mansour, who deserves a good TV fight. And that fight could really turn out to be entertaining as well.
That actually might happen.
Let's hope.
Didn't Stiverne fight this year, January?
Yeah, against Wilder. This is his first fight since the
and
Wilder
bout. He took a beating in that fight too.
Yeah. So.
Well, kind of. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, kind of. He was competitive to an extent. I didn't see that fight. I heard about it. There was other big things, as we know, in the world of combat sports. Ronda Rousey and
we don't hit
Holly
that.
Holm.
Hold on.
I'm just saying. My reason why I didn't watch it. I heard the result, and to be honest with you, he fights like once a year. It's Stiverne, and his inactivity he just kills it. I mean, when he was the champion, he just, I mean, other than Chris Arreola, he didn't really fight that often. And to be honest with you, it's hard to get in. But in fact, on that card, actually, that was probably the best fight of the card, and it wasn't even televised. And I haven't seen it, and I'm not really going out my way to look for it. But I'm glad you brought it up, because we talk boxing here. But to be honest with you, I'm not really too interested in them. But that's why I didn't really say anything. But I digress. Next person.
I concur.
It's what you expect from Stiverne. Unfortunately, he's supposed to beat Derek Rossi at this stage.
I heard it was competitive. I heard Rossi did pretty good.
It was.
Yeah,
it was pretty competitive. Yeah, but go ahead. What you was going to say?
But that's the thing. Stiverne is still a level higher than Rossi. Even though Rossi's game, like you see his fights, he's game in almost every fight he's in. He'll eventually lose the talent, but he's still game. So it's not really surprising that Stiverne won.
Is this something like Robert Guerrero versus Aaron Martinez, or you think probably Rossi's more than what you saw in that fight?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, given it's less than because of the guy Guerrero. He got the decision he didn't deserve. The way he's fought since, and we just don't know what we will see. Well, that question's to be determined when we see Rossi fight going forward. Okay. That question to be determined, because right, I have to see him fight again. How will he look? Because the guy Guerrero got that decision he didn't deserve. He's fought really well since. He's looked good since. And with Rossi, it's to be determined. I have to see him fight again.
How about the guy who fought Arreola? Cassie, yeah. What do you think about him? Was he a fluke as well, or he was the real deal? Because he fought Brazil.
Again, it's the same situation. We have to see Rossi again, because Cassie, he gotten robbed twice.
Yeah,
he's got robbed twice. So that's an indication that he was probably slept on coming into that Arreola fight.
But do you think that probably because he got knocked out by Mansour, sometimes a fighter gets knocked out and people think, oh, they're not that great anymore.
But Mansour can really crack. He can hurt anybody.
Right. That's my point.
So I wouldn't use that analogy necessarily.
Right.
Guys like Rossi and the other guy, Cassie, those guys are quality fighters. I mean, they give everybody they're in there with a tough fight, but they're not elite fighters, so they often don't find a way to win against the top level guys. But I mean, Rossi has always been a tough out. Everybody he's fought, I mean, he's awkward, and he always makes fights competitive. So it's not really a surprise that he went out there and made Stiverne, who's been inactive, work for a win.
Yeah,
you think if he had the right backing behind him, probably he would have been one of those big name fighters? You think sometimes it's promotional problems or backing, why these fighters they're not seen as the A side?
I don't think in those cases, but I mean, obviously in some case that's true.
But couldn't we say that about a lot of fighters? I mean, let's face it, they're champions who doesn't get promoted in the way they should.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because remember, these guys are going up against the guys who are back. Like Brazil was the guy that was supposed to be, the dude who. So you don't expect Cassie to do, he's supposed to be the guy to get the win over. Same thing for Stiverne versus this guy. He's not supposed to win really. He's kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but historically, great fighters have always had some guys that were not top level who they struggled with. I mean, styles or whatever the situation may be. I mean, Brazil looked good at times in that fight. The problem is he didn't use his jab enough later on. I mean, early on he was winning decisively and easily. But Cassie's a tough, awkward guy who started to get to him late when he started falling off of his jab. And I mean, Stiverne, like EJ and other people have said, he's just not active. So, you know, he can never really find his perfect balance because I mean he fights so rarely. So I mean, even though he's got lots of talent and backing, I mean he sort of hurts himself because he's not in the gym as much as he should be. Hey, I look at Rios.
I want to talk about the other fights on this card. Jarrett Hurd scoring, surprising to many, 6-round stoppage over Frank Galarza. Russian fighter by the name of Derevyanchenko scoring a impressive three-round TKO win, as well as up-and-coming 18-year-old light heavyweight David Benavidez scoring a first-round stoppage. I'm going to combine fights here. For those who saw any of those fights, those comments, particularly the Hurd bout, as well as the Benavidez, because he's getting a lot of publicity, out in the West Coast, out in the LA area. 18-year-old kid out of Phoenix. So for anybody who's saw any of those fights, I'm just going to open it up to everybody and comment. Unmute your mic, fellas.
Yeah, I haven't seen none of them fights there. I don't know none of them fighters. I'm gonna pass on these two fights. So I guess when you get to fights, I do know I will comment. So that's just me.
Okay.
Well, I really enjoyed what Hurd did to Galarza, and I like Galarza. Galarza was the guy that stopped the guy who fought Liam Smith for the.
Yes.
He stopped him, right?
Yes.
Frank Galarza, he has a good style. He's a smart boxer. He usually tries to size you up, and then once he figures you out, it's good night because he's gonna land the right punches. But Jarrett Hurd is just he got too much game for this guy, and he's tall, and he can fight on the inside. He can fight on the outside. He does like Mayweather, James Toney background, the Michigan style, and he can mix up the jabs. He doesn't only just shoot one kind of jab. So great fight. Hurd broke him down. Everybody was kind of shocked. I think the commentators started to see the momentum shift, and they were backing Galarza, but it didn't happen, man. Hurd, he broke him down and then he stopped him. Great stuff. Turned out back.
Daniel, Jacob, if you saw the fight, your comments if you've seen the fight, if you saw either of those fights.
Yep, I saw 3 of them.
Yeah, I didn't see the fight.
I saw 3 of them, luckily, because this was supposed to be the Gary Wilson Jr. card, but
Right.
it got canceled. Isn't Benavidez the brother of Jose Benavidez, the top rank?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that kid. He's got a lot of buzz going along. So, you expect him to have Al Heyman's signature soon enough. The other guy, the Ukrainian, he's
Ukrainian. I said Russian. Ukrainian. You're right. My apologies.
not a problem. Yeah, I think this is his 3rd time on Showbox, and each time he's improved a little bit more. And it kind of shows the Eastern European style that they're getting better at becoming pros.
Right.
A lot better than the Cubans are of adjusting to the pros from the amateur system. And with Hurd and Galarza, the funniest thing to me was after the fight. Sam Watson, before the fight, walks in with Galarza, and then as soon as Hurd wins, he just jumps in with Hurd.
A Don King move.
Yeah.
Well, he's backing both, I guess.
It is, but can you not make it that blatant? Come on.
Classic Don King move right there.
And Hurd got good defense. It's not like Hurd doesn't fight like Thomas the Hitman Hearns. He fights, even though he's a big man, he got that full game where he actually rolls punches, blocks punches, can use the range, can get on the inside and still do work on the inside. It's crazy, man. The kid's got some skills, man.
Go ahead. I'm finished. I'm sorry. What you need?
Wasn't he in the camp with Broner and Peterson and those guys?
He sparred with Peterson. He sparred with Austin Trout, Dominic Wade.
Okay.
I know. So.
That's a nice little network to be a group of.
Right. Let me ask you a follow-up question, Daniel. The Ukrainian fighter. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I know I'll just butcher it. How would you compare him to Beterbiev at lightweight? I already talked about the Ukrainian fighter, Sergiy. Possible title shot towards the end of 2016. This guy and Beterbiev have similar records right now. Highly touted, both of them. How would you compare the two?
I have not seen the other guy, unfortunately, but if they're coming from the same background, I'm pretty sure they're going to be both of them are going to be well disciplined. Both of them are going to know good footwork, good technical moves in and out of the ring. The difference is with this guy, the guy that fought that I've seen. You've seen him each time he fights on Showbox that he's shown that he's accepted the more pro style, and he's not depending so much on like landing 1 or 2 punches and then getting out. Something that unfortunately I wasn't here last week, but like Vasily Lomachenko in his fight on the Tim Bradley card, he was still showing it. 1-2 punches and then moving out. This guy, no. He's doing it, and he's imposing his will. So I haven't seen the other guy, but if they come from the similar background, I expect similar things.
Yeah, I say that because Artur Beterbiev, the light heavyweight, who was rumored to fight Kovalev in November, before that fight was pulled off, early discussions about that. They fight in a similar style. They both have power. They're both excellent body punchers. So I was just wondering if anybody has seen both of them, the comparison in terms of their development.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, he's a Heyman guy too. I keep forgetting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he's fought. Yeah, I have seen him. Yeah, he's been on some undercards.
Yes, he was on the Stevenson undercard on
he fought
CBS.
Johnson.
Yeah, on Stevenson, Saki Obika undercard.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I remember this kid. Yeah, now. Pretty good. I mean, like I said, it's pretty good. And making him a fight with Kovalev would be nice because he has 3 amateur wins, I think, over Kovalev.
Yes, and they don't like each other personally, so.
Oh yeah, there's bad blood there.
So absolutely. I'll just throw this fight in here before we go to the elephant in the room fight that everybody's been talking about. Did anyone see the Edwin Rodriguez win that took place Friday on Spike? He stopped a guy by the name of Seals in Mississippi. Did anybody see that fight?
Nah.
Nope.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Your thoughts, Jake.
Yeah, it was a sloppy fight. I mean, it was exciting for a while. It lasted, a lot of knockdowns, but I mean, Rodriguez was just slanging, his overhand slingshot right, and he got overconfident, cocky, and then he got floored, and he was hurt, and he got saved by the bell, and then he came out again, and he just landed a little bit more than the other guy. Even though he got dropped twice. But, I mean, it was an exciting fight. People were talking about fight of the year, but as far as technique, it was really sloppy, in my opinion.
Horrible. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that fight. I know Mike Seals, I interviewed him 3 years ago. Me and Beats, we interviewed him just after he beat Byron Mitchell, and at super middleweight. Byron Mitchell moved all the way up to light heavyweight at the time. Seals is coming down from the cruiserweight, and also Mike Seals is trained by Robert Allen, who fought Bernard Hopkins. Because I interviewed him, and he was saying that's his prospects. So I knew about him from a long while. So I was happy to hear that he finally got a chance to be on TV and to fight against Eddie Rodriguez, who fought Andre Ward. And to be honest with you, you saw what Mike Seals, they call him Mike the Cannon Seals, because when he fights, he's got big hands, he knocks people out. But the thing is, he's never fought competition. I'm getting some feedback somewhere. I don't know where. Someone needs to mute. I don't know where it is. He's never fought in
I don't hear it, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'll probably get it from you, Michael. Probably from here. I can probably hear you in the background.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So that was the first big step up for him, and he showed out. He showed what it was about. He brought the pain. A lot of people turned out to watch that fight, and the fight did end up really not as technical. But you remember, these guys are light heavyweight. They can throw down. They're not as technical as the welterweights, the lightweights, and the bantamweights. Who probably more technically sound. They come to throw hands, man, and that's what they did. And Mike Seals was doing the job until obviously maybe his experience kind of played out. But you gotta remember, every time he knocked him down, it was near the end of the round. And Mike Seals caught a wicked knockdown, and it was boy, he was over. But like I said, he came down from cruiserweight where they thought they would be stronger. And I'm not gonna blame anything. Rodriguez won the thing. He won, and that's that. That's what you can say. I'd love to see a rematch, and that was one of the most exciting fights from the PBC card. And props to the PBC even making that card too. Mike Seals been stepping up into Rodriguez. I'd like to see the fight probably fight again. Brazil's, you know, never mind. You know, I mean, he stepped up and it never happened. But it happens in boxing where a lot of guys who have been fighting for a long while, they don't step up and they fight competition really late in their career. He's quite old as well, so I don't know what happens for him next. But you know, a lot of guys should fight early in their career, competition. But then you could fight too early, like a Fernando Vargas when he fought Trinidad. You fight too early in your career, and that could happen as well. So you never know. It's a double-edged sword. So yeah, man, that was a very impressive fight, and I enjoyed it.
Sorry, I had my mic mute. Okay, let's move on and talk about the fight that got everyone buzzing. Not even a boxing match. As past couple of weeks, we talked about Ronda Rousey. We talked about her on the cover of Ring magazine and how controversial that was. Well, she fought this past Saturday in Australia against Holly Holm, and to quote Jay LaBeouf from BadCulture.net, she caught a fade. She got her ass whooped. Knocked out in 2 rounds by Holly Holm. I'm just gonna let everybody open their mics up and let everybody cook and have their say about it. I will add my 2 cents in later, but Ronda Rousey, she got whooped Saturday night. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I called it. I didn't call the knockout, but I called Holly Holmes would beat her. I already knew Bermain, she could keep range. Holly Holmes has got tremendous conditioning. I knew if she could keep on the outside, I'm not lying. If anyone wants to check it, you can check my channel, EJ Box, and see my prediction. It's just that I thought it'd go the distance. I didn't think Ronda would be stopped. And she just kept the distance. And what happens just in sports, combat sports in general, when someone's aggressively attacking you, right, and Holly Holmes doesn't really go for the knockout, she usually goes to outpoint you. When someone's aggressively attacking you like that, it doubles the impact of the punch. As you throw a punch, if they're coming into it, it doubles the impact. And that was happening to Ronda. Every time she aggressively came in, Holly could time her with her left, and it was just doubling the pact on her face. And she's not used to getting hit. And it was the first time she had ever been into the second round as well. Stamina issues, aggressive issues. She actually felt aggressively. She had no respect for Holly Holmes and what she accomplished. And nor did the UFC. They were just. There's a video I got on my channel from this guy called Chael Sonnen from MMA. He was saying like boxing belts are like a toy you get in a store. They hand them out, and I was like, how disrespectful is that? And that's what all the MMA experts, so-called experts, were saying. They gave Holly a chance. None of them gave her a chance. They said Ronda's a beast. She's this. They were trying to say Ronda is one in a lifetime type of woman. They were hyping that shit. I, with my smart self, went down to the betting office and put £10 down and got 85 back because I won. I should actually put more. And I got another one as well. I got another upset this week when we get into it. But what I'm trying to say to you is that you can't hide away from the truth, right? And when it comes to this game, there is a process in boxing what they don't have in MMA. Give you an example. We have an amateur and we have a pro, and we know even when you get to the top of boxing, for you to stay more, even in women's boxing, even though it's not as vast as men, to be at the top, you need to be the best. And Holly Holmes was supposed to fight to see the brackets. That fight's never happened. They were both pound for pound, like 1 and 2 in women's boxing. So she was highly ranked, and she had kickboxing, so she was very good on her feet. And if she could keep the distance against Ronda, you knew she could win that fight. But they didn't. None of them even saw that. I mean, it was over their head. They were blowing this girl up, and you gotta understand the people blowing up Ronda Rousey, like Joe Rogan. He's a comedian. He's a comedian for a living. So you got to wonder. It's like Jim Lamptey when he's bam, 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 blowing up these dudes. I mean, who was Jim Lamptey before he came and commentated? He's never been in the ring before. But when these guys say something, everyone just says, yeah, they're right. Like when they've got. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But basically, you know, you have to only go by your own what you see and basically go by people's resume. That's what I went by, and that's why I chose Holly Holmes, and she won. And to be honest with you, I was excited as anyone when a knockout came, and it's good for women's boxing. And hopefully, Holly Holmes could get the acclamation she deserves. I like to see on the Ring magazine. You know, she's the first woman to conquer MMA and boxing and 2 dual champions, and that will never be done again ever. That is it. It's cemented. The first person to do it was a boxer, and I'm happy for her. So that's my take on that, guys.
Anybody else?
You know, this is an interesting topic because I mean you have many different sides that play into it. I mean you have a lot of people who are really diehard boxing fans who are happy to see a boxer beat Rousey. And I mean, you know, you have to take your hats off to Rousey because she fought, or sorry, Holm because she fought great. She had a great strategy. She was able to follow through on her strategy, unlike Rousey, who looked like when her things didn't work out, she just got frustrated and didn't have a plan B to sort of work to. She would have been smarter just to move back and make Holly Holm be more aggressive. But nonetheless, I mean, things worked out the way they are. And this goes back to what I was saying as far as Ring Magazine and having her on the cover. This is not a negative for boxing or for women in combat sports. Like, I mean, the big problem you have with a lot of these people that follow combat sports is misogyny. You know, they don't really care about females in these sports, and they don't have a lot of respect for them. So when they see a woman who's getting all this press, they're very happy to sort of sling mud at her and hate on her, even though what she's doing for women in combat sports is great.
Well.
No. Can I finish before you?
Go ahead.
So you can say,
I'm sorry.
you can say what you want, but having a strong female in combat sports is a positive thing for young girls who follow combat sports and people involved. If you've watched most people who are mature as far as females in the sport, especially boxing females, they tell you that they think that she did a great job and she was great for sports, and they haven't hated on her. Of course, you have some of her competitors who love to jump at the chance to like sling mud at her after she got beat, even though they weren't the ones who were able to do it. But her being on the cover of this magazine brought a lot of attention to boxing, and anyone that has this magazine, of course, got a lot of attention with the people who are in it. And then to have this woman who was a boxer and a great boxer, you know, the best boxer probably at her time in her weight class. And she was basically ignored as a female boxer and left because of that and went to the MMA where her opportunities were better, where this organization was much more prone to sort of push and support the female fighters. And because of that, I mean, she's very blessed. Now she has the great opportunity to beat Rousey, and now she becomes the cover girl for these magazines and has huge money in front of her as well. And this opportunity for all females in combat sports is there if they're promoted properly and they understand the game as well. And I think anybody, Brackus or anybody else in the sport, can learn from this, and it shines light on all females in combat sports to show that they are legitimate and they bring something to the game. Rousey was the #1 person in MMA. You know, she was selling pay-per-views, and she was getting tons of attention. You can say it's all hype and ignore the fact that she was like running through her competition. But the point is, she is a crossover star, and any crossover star as a female in combat sports is a positive thing. And I'm not going to sling mud on her because she lost, because losing is part of the game. And the great thing about MMA, losing doesn't mean the end of your career. All the best fighters in MMA have lost, and it hasn't stopped them, and it hasn't stopped them from having great opportunities. Unlike boxing, where sometimes one loss ruins your career.
As far as the sexism, I'm going to open it up for everybody, but as far as the sexism in combat sports, you're right. But let's just be honest here. Part of the sexism falls at the feet of Dana White, who, yes, he's promoting, he signed Rousey and he's brought her to MMA and unwarranted intention for all that. But I have not forgot, this is the same Dana White who launched a sexist, misogynist, homophobic rant against Loretta Hunt back in 2009 because she dared step up and have some critique of MMA and UFC. This is the same Dana White who went off on video on YouTube and called her a fucking stupid ass bitch and all that, excuse my language. And while he apologized for the homophobic rant, he never apologized for what he said about her. And this is not the first time he's been guilty of it. So while yes, it's great what he's done for Rousey. It's great. But he has his own issues as well. So let's put that into the equation. He's not innocent here. Let's throw him in. Huh?
I never even said his name.
But I am. But you said combat sports. And if you put him into combat, you have to put him in there. And I'm just adding that in there as well. He's not immune. He's not guilty. And if it wasn't for Ronda Rousey, Look, 2 years before he introduced her to UFC. This was also the same dude that women will never fight for UFC. So, was it really about women, or was it about the potential for money that he could make from it? Is he truly, is he truly there for women, or did he see money opportunity that it just happened to include women?
Well said. Well said. I couldn't agree with you more. And the pay-per-view opportunity, Ronda Rousey only broke into this pay-per-view with this fight, with her fight breaking into some serious money with her. She was using Mayweather's name. The thing is boxing. She was using the most famous boxer in our sport, Mayweather, to get over. I would beat Mayweather in how many minutes? That's what she was saying. She was saying she dished Donald Trump, who's running for presidency. She was doing all the things to draw attention to herself, whether positive or negative. She was bringing it, and if she beat Holly Holm, you wouldn't hear the end of it, right? But the way she conducted herself, and the way she lost, I mean, you love it, man. Anyone so arrogant and Holly so kind person. I'm not saying Ronda's a bad person, but the way Ronda was conducting herself, she deserved that beating. She deserved that beating, and I'm happy about it.
I'm not gonna say she deserves it, but to your point,
I would.
Did you see the Instagram post that she put out about Holly Holm and the
yes,
thing she said about her? That was it was uncalled for, and it was untrue what she said about Rousey. That was out of pocket.
But that's what
it really was.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Ronda was saying she was fake, and she was dissing everything. That's what I'm trying to say. She got to the point where she had yes people around her. No one was telling her the stuff you was doing, is bad. Like, you can't be talking to someone like. She just lost respect, and it showed in the octagon that she had no respect for her. Now, I was trying to say, for her to even beat Holly Holmes again, she needs someone like Chris Bird to understand southpaw striking and how to nullify Holly Holmes when she strikes, to try and get close to her, to try and put her down on the ground. But there's no way she can beat her again, and it's lost. That will never happen again. But what an explosion of social media events. That the aftermath was the weekend, and we're still talking about it midweek. So it was good for sports in general. That's what I feel.
Let's bring Daniel Jacob and what you need into this discussion. Your thoughts, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, Ronda Rousey, she made the biggest mistake, which is she forgot what got her there. What bread and butter is her judo. And,
right.
When she starts beating people by knockout, people that are considered strikers, then she starts to believe her own hype and thinking she can box. And it's not something that you can just pick up, after, a couple training sessions or a couple fights. I mean, that's why they call it the sweet science. And, she was chasing Holly, and Holly was jabbing her and using the distance well. And, she was kicking her ass. And, I agree with some of the things you said, Michael, in regards to Dana White. I think it's a money grab. I mean, when he had Brock Lesnar and, GSP and all these people, I mean, the reason that he's behind those so much is because they're bringing in the dollars. Women's MMA has come a long way, but I don't think if Ronda Rousey was, not as magnetic as she is and been able to cross over, he would care, two shits about her. But I mean, hats off to Holly Holm. I'm glad she won. Rousey needed, to kind of be humbled, I think, a little bit, and hopefully this does that, and hopefully she changes her style and no, this is what got me here is my judo, and get her to the ground. And I think she can win a fight if she can get Holly to the ground. But in a striking match, she's going to lose 10 out of 10.
And I say all that because I wonder moving forward. Let's say they fight again, which they probably will, and Holm beats her again. Will Dana White push her, Holly Holm, in the same way that he pushed Ronda Rousey?
No.
But the whole point is,
I think that's
about money. I mean, obviously you need the personality, you need everything to be packaged. I mean, just like he said, I mean, she is the one that brought a bit of charisma that was able to be marketed and had her cross over. I mean, this is the same for every sport. Lots of great athletes and great people in their sport are not able to cross over because they don't bring that intrinsic sort of thing that people latch onto. And the point is, of course she did well because of money. I mean, that's what sports is. It's all about money. Like, who are we fooling? I mean, if she wasn't bringing money, i.e. Rigo, she wouldn't be getting any attention. I mean, that's just the way sports are. So you can't hate her because she did what other women want to do. She still is a road sign for what people can do. I mean, this shows that women can do it. That's what it is, whether she wins or loses. And as far as taking away from her, you know, bringing her down a notch, how did bringing Mike Tyson down a notch do for his career? You know, confidence and arrogance in sports is the norm. When a person is there, that's when they dominate. Once you take this off of them, and what do? Shit, nothing. You know, so we will see what she does after this. If she's able to come back, props to her. But I mean, once you lose that edge, you know, you're never the same fighter again. I mean, Tyson showed that totally, and now we get to see that again.
Tyson, the thing is the Tyson and the Ronda Rousey comparison is completely something different. Like that's the thing. She's primarily a judo person. She's a judo person who tried to be a boxer and she got exposed. And the thing is, Dana White tried to. I'll give you an example of what he was trying to do. So she made the comments about Floyd. She'll beat Floyd on the second. So what did Dana White do? Let's bring a boxer over to the UFC or someone similar to boxing, and we're going to bring them in as a sacrificial lamb, like James Toney when he went against Randy Couture. James Toney had no idea what the heck was going on. He just wanted the money, and he embarrassed his legacy getting beat up by Randy Couture. So they brought Holly Holmes in, and she was a sacrificial lamb. The question was what you asked, Mike, would they invest as much money into Holly Holmes' thing? The answer is no. Because he invested so much money into Ronda Rousey and the whole media build-up, everything. How can it's like he's gobshite himself. He couldn't believe that he was so wrong because they believed their own hype. They believed their own press clippings. Holly Holm was the truth, you know. The preacher's daughter. She's the real deal. She's the flipping real deal. And they should invest it, but they're not going. You know why, Michael? You know why? Because she's too. They call her Holly Whitebread or Holly Purebred. That's what they call her, Holly Purebred. She's so good and innocent that it doesn't sell. You need a bad dog like Ronda Rousey who's just controversial, and Holly's not that. But that's why you love the sports, man. You love the idea that someone like Holly would win, but no, they're not gonna push her. They're already taking away. Have you heard the rumors already? They're actually saying Holly was on steroids. They're talking about her clitoris is like a man. She's been taking steroids. They're trying to say that Ronda's got media obligations. They're saying that she's a trainer. They've got someone needs to mute, by the way. I'm getting feedback here. I don't know who came in. Jacob needs to mute over there. Like, I'm getting feedback. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like they've already commenting about they're bringing up all the excuses, so that they're already trying to take away the credit from Holly Holmes, and Dana White has not jumped on board and try to push Holly. If anything, he went straight away. Yeah, Ronda will get a rematch. That's all he's on. He's embarrassed himself. So they're trying to do damage control at the minute and to do the right thing. What Don King would do, promote Holly, but they're not trying to do that, Michael. So that's my take.
There's some big backfiring tactics that happened this year. We start off with Mayweather Pacquiao. We had the Adrian Broner issue that backfired on Adrian Broner. We had the Golovkin pay-per-view that backfired. And now we have the Ronda Rousey incident that backfired. And if you stop and think about it, it's because people overrate a fighter and underrate another fighter because they don't fit the stereotypical icon that they have in their minds. So what happened is, with the Ronda Rousey fight, it's not that Ronda Rousey took Holly Holmes for granted. It's that styles make fights, and in this case, Holly Holmes is not just a boxer; she's also a kickboxer coming into this fight, who also knows the tactics to negate the judo tactics that Ronda Rousey would bring. And from the get-go, it's almost like Mayweather versus Pacquiao in reverse. She signaled that you're not just going to come in here with a straight left to Ronda Rousey's face, and she established distance from then on in. So this was a tactical fight. Holly Holmes did her homework, and she worked hard to get where she's at. People now know about Holly Holmes, and that's a plus for boxing. You know, a pure boxer went into kickboxing, became a world champion there, now has gone into MMA and become a world champion there in 3 different contact sports, man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here's why
I agree.
Let me say this. Here's why I disagree with you about to a point about the respect factor that Rousey had for Holm.
Hmm.
And EJ made the analysis comparison between Couture and Tony. What did Couture do in that fight with Tony? Everybody knew Tony was washed up. He had nothing left. But he had respect for James Toney and the fact that he was a boxer. How? Why? Because what did Couture do? Single leg takedown. He went for Tony's legs and took him down and put him to the mat. What did Rousey do in the beginning of that fight? She tried to stand there and foolishly box with a world-class, world Hall of Fame type women's boxer. You just don't do it.
But here's my point.
She underestimated.
She never. She, unlike James Toney.
Deviated from
wait, hold on. Unlike James Toney, though, James Toney don't got that footwork. He does not have that footwork. James Toney's an inside fighter. So, and James Toney's major problem, even against Roy Jones Jr. and all these other guys, was that he snaps back instead of moves back, right? Holly Holmes, she got that footwork. So ain't no way you just coming into her. So every time Ronda Rousey tried to burst in, Holly Holmes just took that step back.
But that's the point. She burst in. She didn't step to the side. She didn't try to cut the ring off at all.
This is the thing. She underestimated. This is what we're trying to say. She underestimated him because the thing is, Holly Holmes had 2 other fights in the UFC, right? And the 2 opponents never got knocked out. In fact, she looked terrible. The reason why is because the 2 other opponents respected Holly Holmes. They didn't just try to come in there and knock her out. What Ronda Rousey was trying to knock her out. That's why she got knocked out herself. If Ronda Rousey never went in there and went so aggressively after Holly Holm, she wouldn't get knocked out. It wouldn't happen like that because she would have tried to parry, should have tried to wait for Holly to make a mistake and then try to put her to the ground. What she was trying to do, she had no respect for Holly's punching power. She couldn't believe she was getting hit. She had no respect for her. That's why, exactly what Michael said. You try and take a boxer, anyone who can stand up on their feet and very good at it, you try and take them to the ground. And she didn't think that. She thought she was arrogant and she had no respect. She thought she could walk straight through what Holly was doing and beat her. That's why she had no respect. You're right about Styles. I agree with you what you need about the footwork, yeah? But it was more to do with her lack of respect for her thinking she could just do what she wanted to do against Holly. That's what she felt. But she looked at Holly and saw this girl, timid, weak, soft-spoken, preacher's daughter, and she thought, who the fuck is this girl, man? She don't know who she's, bitch. She was the guy she was talking to. She didn't want to touch her gloves. She wrote on Instagram. She was flaming her up, man. That shows a lack of respect right there, right there, which Mike Tyson never did in none of his opponents, by the way, before he got beat. With Buster Douglas, he even knocked Buster Douglas down in that fight. So Mike Tyson probably had a better, that fight was probably more competitive than the Ronda Rousey thing. No comparison is not even the same. The more comparison would be Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield, where Mike Tyson thought he could just blow Evander Holyfield away. That comparison would be more accurate than Mike Tyson Buster Douglas in terms of underdog and thing. But what I'm saying is that's a lack of respect. That's what Michael and I was trying to illustrate to you.
Here's my take on it, right? She, in the interview before the fight, if you do remember, he went up on a show, and she was talking about how Holly Holmes would establish distance with her jab and finally finish her off with a kick. And she said that's not going to happen. She understood the scenario. Even if she tried to go for this lady's legs, she was going to get tagged, or the lady was just going to move out the way. Now, she, I believed that she had to be aggressive to close the distance. And that's why her trainer was saying, you're doing very well, which was crazy. And being that they're flat-footed fighters, basically in UFC, you fight kind of flat-footed to get the leverage that you need. She had to set to get in on Holly Holmes. And if you have to set to get in on a fighter, that fighter can easily move if they have good footwork. So she knew she was in a losing battle. She probably figured that out from sparring and all of that stuff. She knew she couldn't just use the judo. She had to know some boxing to actually get in on Holly Holmes. She figured that out. So she was.
But she did get in. But she did get in. That's the thing. She did get in. She got close. She got close to already. Though what you need. She got in there. She got blocked. Holly Holmes blocked her from stuffing her. Ronda had her against the cage. She blocked everything she did.
Even when she did get a takedown with Holly Holmes positioned herself a certain way to negate the judo tactics and even get out of the judo tactics. Of course, she weakened her a bit also with the strikes that she hit her with. But the point is, she actually knew, Holly Holmes knew more than just boxing. She knew how to negate those judo tactics. Somebody trained her in that. I told you, she did her homework.
Greg Jackson.
She did her homework on this
Job.
fight, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Winkle job. Yeah, she kept she went straight to her strengths, and Ronda, to be honest with you, she was surprised about how good Holly Holmes was, and they didn't do the homework. But the bottom line is this: year, the truth. What I'm trying to say is that people's pedigree, you can't just people like in MMA. They will talk. I'm telling you, they talk about boxing belts and they talk about sanctioning bodies, and they've got no respect for boxing. And Dana White brought her in there to embarrass boxing. That's what was supposed to go down. Boxing, they look, think about it. They had on the Ring magazine. I know what Sean's saying about it's good to give that light. But what if you're looking at it, it's like boxing, this MMA thing is trying to take over our sport. So when Holly Holmes won, people were so happy. So happy. Boxing won out. And it wasn't like James Toney was just out of his thing. Holly Holmes had respect for the game. She had a couple of fights and she had more respect for her game than James Toney, just freaking threw himself in there. And Dana White lost, and this is why Michael's question, going back to Michael's, that's why he can't promote, because it's more like you're promoting a boxer. He had Holly Holmes on a 3-fight contract, and now he has to negotiate and give her another contract. Holly Holmes was the golden goose right there. It was like Brock Lesnar, like someone else did say. Like Brock Lesnar, when he came in from wrestling, they were trying to bring that audience over. That's what this is about. It's about money and bucks and underestimating and having respect for one's craft, man. So that's my
we haven't heard enough from Daniel and Jacob. I don't think Daniel said anything about this. What's the word? What's your word on this, Daniel?
I first want to break down the fight itself because it shows somebody actually studied their opponent. Holly Holm studied Ronda Rousey. You notice, like, even before the fight, she was doing the lateral movement. Ronda Rousey went straight at her. Didn't try any lateral movement, and she got caught. Left hand after left hand, left elbow after left elbow. And when she tried to do something different to get a takedown, good sweeping leg kicks to stop her from it. Yeah, Ronda got a takedown, but Holly Holm was able to get out of it because she studied Rousey enough. And, oh, man, that knockout. That gave me Danny Garcia, Amir Khan flashbacks just because it landed on the neck. And, like I said, you saw that fight. Khan was done after that. Like I said, Rousey was even more done after that. It's a good thing that it happened because Ronda was probably getting a little bit too cocky, like with all the movie appearances, the magazine covers. Getting a little bit too cocky. She didn't respect her opponent. I sort of agree. And now she had an opponent that made her pay. Now, I do agree that the rematch is going to be huge. If MMA somehow finally gets legalized in New York, you could see that definitely in the Garden next year. The issue is going to be, though, will Ronda Rousey learn? And let's be honest, like we all saw the reaction on Twitter when the knockout happened. It was more of a knock, I think, on Dana White because Dana White has talked so much crap about boxing. So then all of boxing Twitter jumped in on it. But I love the fact that Holly Holm used her distance. I love the fact that she kept the game plan simple. And like I said, I love the fact that she ended it with a kick to the head and just flat out demolished Rousey at that end. Will Rousey recover? I definitely think she can. MMA, like Sean said, MMA is not a career path where one loss can destroy you. They can actually make you better. But we'll have to see in this instance whether it makes Rousey better and if Rousey's a little bit humbled by this, because hopefully she is.
But do you think it's about humility with Ronda Rousey? Like a lot of people always say it's about humility, or is it just about like with Adrian Broner, right? Ronda Rousey, Adrian Broner. We had a number of other fighters, but my point is, if you're an outspoken person, you're an outspoken person. You know, you're gonna be who you are. And I don't really have a problem with that, to be honest with you. It's just when you don't back up the talk. You know what I mean?
It's not just a humility question with her. If she's going to beat Ronda Rousey, she's gonna beat Holly Holm. She has to deconstruct and reconstruct everything she's learned and done so far. She cannot. She has to evolve her style in every facet. Because if she goes in, because
She has to be able to box. Period.
right, she has to have better
close
hand
that
skills.
distance.
She has to have better footwork.
Yeah.
She has to do better cutting off the angle because from what I've seen, and even prior to this Holly Holm bout, I knew she would have trouble coming in. And if they were to fight 10 times, if Ronda Rousey fights the same basic style, Holly Holm would give her hell each and every time they fought.
Yeah.
The last 30 seconds actually explain that pretty well. Like you saw Rousey trying to charge in, Holm smoothly got out the way, and Rousey just bum rushed herself into a knee.
Right.
Yeah, because Rousey needs a certain distance to get into the judo. You have to be in a certain range. Holmes never gave her that range. Never. Not once in that fight.
She's not St. Pierre in the sense that St. Pierre can cut the distance short from long range to quick range, then put you up to the mat. She can't do that like St. Pierre can for a man. For instance, for the way he can for a man. She can't. She has to learn to do something similar to that. And I'm not saying she has to fight like a man. Don't get me wrong, but she has to. Her style needs to deviate so she can cut distance quickly, use athleticism, cut angles, and get to a fighter like Holly Holm to the ground. Because up top, she would never beat her. Never.
She got her to the ground once, but that's the thing.
Holly Holm, what she did, the thing is, what she did, it wasn't that sophisticated how she got away. It was basic.
But at least she studied her opponent.
Right.
I don't know how she studied her opponent.
Because Holmes went side on her and used the forearms to block the takedown, basically.
Yep.
So kind of like what you do in boxing, but with the feet as well. So it was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was a brilliant display of boxing fundamentals combined with kickboxing and MMA facets to the game that she just had no shot. She couldn't do nothing about. Jacob, EJ, Sean, any last words before we move on and talk Cotto, Canelo? Unmute your mic, please, gentlemen.
Yo, the rematch, yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
So just real fast, I spoke a little bit on it earlier, but the more that proves that this was a money grab is that I've never seen a fighter get their ass kicked so badly, so one-sidedly, but they get an instant rematch. Like that doesn't happen normally. You know, if someone loses decisively, then they're not going to get a rematch. They got to work their way back up to the top to get that rematch. But Dana White,
Anderson Silva.
What fight?
First time he got knocked out cold.
Weidman?
Yeah, when he got knocked out cold by Weidman, he fought the rematch and broke his leg.
I think it's because she was a champion. She'll get the rematch.
But Silva was the champion as well.
Yeah, undisputed champion.
Yeah, but again, the point is about the money. I mean, they knew the Anderson Silva Weidman rematch was going to bring more money because Silva had this mystique about him that this Matrix style of fighting that he can't be stopped. He got stopped, knocked out, and then he got I think he had a little bit of time off the hill. And then he got that rematch. But same thing here. She got totally outclassed in every aspect. I don't think she won 1 minute of that fight, but she's gonna get an instant rematch.
Good point. Because Silva was winning the fight.
It's the money.
Yeah.
They
Silva was winning the fight before he got knocked out.
They know they could sell that fight.
MMA is not boxing. In MMA, you're always going to make the fight that people want to see, and people want to see the rematch.
Well, the irony is women's boxing gets a boost here. That's the irony of the whole situation.
Yep, that's what I said to begin with.
In my dream scenario, Holly Holm fights Rousey, beat her again, then leave the game and go back to boxing and fight a big fight in boxing, women's boxing.
She won't do that.
Because outside of a rounding rematch, where she's going to make any real money?
Fighting Cyborg.
If Dana White comes around.
What do you mean comes around? If there's money, he's going to make the fight.
Okay, we will see. We will see. I'm suspicious about Dana White. Always have been.
Well, Dana White...
Unlike boxing promoters.
Cyborg.
What was that? What was that, Daniel?
Dana White hasn't been focusing a lot on Cyborg just because of Rousey. Now he has to try to pivot a little bit to Cyborg in order to make it happen. Size-wise, I think it can happen. It'd be a good fight. But then again, Cyborg with Rousey would have been a decent fight if Rousey could get a little bit bigger.
If Rousey was smart, if I was Rousey's camp, I would fight Cyborg. She'd have a better chance against Cyborg than she would against Rousey.
Against Holm.
Against Holm, yeah.
I mean, Rousey will have a better chance against Cyborg than she would against Holm. I'm sorry.
You think so?
Yes.
Cyborg is the one that destroyed Gina Caruso, right?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. She was a novice as well.
There you go.
She was a novice as well.
But
unlike Gina Carano, at least Ronda Rousey's talking about coming back into the game. Carano, she got beat by Cyborg and quit.
And let's be honest with you when it comes to Rousey. We know her for her fighting ability. We know her for what she can do in the octagon. All the other people that came before, like Carano, they know her more now for her looks. It wasn't so much about the fighting ability. With Rousey, it became about the fighting ability.
And Rousey's she's a better MMA fighter than Carano. It's not even close to me, overall. So she'd have a better shot against Cyborg.
Wouldn't mind saying it. I'll say that.
You're silent over there, Jacob.
Oh.
What's up?
I said you're silent over there. So I was saying that I think that Rousey will have a better chance against the Cyborg than she would have in a home rematch, to be honest. I understand the money and the fight will happen, but it is what it is. I just think that will she be given enough time to evolve her style to have a chance against a Rousey? I don't know, because the money's there now.
Boxing's not something you could just pick up overnight and be good at it. That's
right. She needs time, a lot of it.
A lot of time.
And some tune-up fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that Rousey's gonna beat Holly or Cyborg by trying to strike with them. She's a judo practitioner. She needs to stick to what got her there, and that's how she's gonna win those fights. I mean, if she continues to try to think she's a striker, that she can develop her striking game in a short amount of time, she's gonna lose those fights. I mean, it's a fact.
Yeah, I agree. I think you might get a lot of female boxers crossing over to MMA and whooping some ass and then going back. In fact, you know what I think. I think the hybrid would be exactly what you point. Women going to MMA and going back into boxing, and just basically, in fact, having two belts at the same time. I don't mind seeing that. I mean, Holly Holmes could go and fight. This would be really good. Holly Holmes fight what's her name against Cecilia Brækhus. That would be sick, man. That would be sick. Right now, that would be sick. She been in UFC. No, right now she's the women's bantamweight champion, UFC bantamweight champion, and she goes and face Holly Holmes. Cecilia Brækhus for the welterweight championship at the same time, bruh. That would be sick.
That's my scenario. Beat Holm
money,
again,
man.
Beat Holm again, or then go back to boxing, fight a bracket, fight a Delphine Pearson, Serrano, Layla McCarter. Because I think the opposite. I think finally with this win, this may give women's boxing a push. Because if you saw Twitter, all the women's boxers who were like jumping for joy.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
All of boxing.
Yeah, they were, man.
For joy, man.
Yeah, but all of boxing was. Boxing was happy because you know why? Yeah, we finally shown that our sport is our sport. We already know the truth. Holly's one of them women didn't get no attention. De La Hoya needs to look at himself in the mirror and say, you know what? You fucked up, right? You got the wrong. You know what? You know what he said? So on the title that was like, she conquered MMA, now she conquered boxing. No, look at this. Holly Holmes conquered boxing, now she's conquered MMA. And her on Ring Magazine.
And
I was gonna say, here's how stupid De La Hoya is. Okay. Even after Holm got knocked out, he still talking about, well, I would still love to promote you. Again, you got plenty of women's boxers.
That is a sucker, man.
Desperate for the shine. Desperate for the shine. and he won't promote them. Won't even pay him.
No, man. Because you know what? They've invested in Ronda Rousey. They've invested already. This is what I'm trying to say to you. It's all about they still see her as the truth.
Even
Not
as
good,
I'm just
but
saying,
it's good.
even we just saw a woman boxer use a basic boxing style to beat the number one draw in UFC, man or woman, beat her ass, and yet you still can't get from folks in boxing like De La Hoya have a thought about promoting women's boxing more sense. That's what frustrates me.
And
You
the
watch this.
only person ever to do that in 3 different combat sports.
Thank you.
History, right?
Hey,
there.
Thank you.
Listen,
That's
hey, listen,
history,
listen, this. What you don't understand as well, what no one's talking about is Holly Holm is 34 years of age.
Oh my goodness.
As a woman with 2 kids. You know what I'm trying to say? She's more practically a mother, right? That is unheard of. Some Hopkins shit right there. Some Hopkins shit right there. And beat the 25-year-old. No one's talking about the age difference, right? That is amazing. That's what they're trying to do with the steroid thing out. They're trying to discredit Holly. She was just on Larry King.
I'm not even going to dignify that kind of ignorance with a response. I'm not even going to dignify that ignorance with a response.
But you know what? She's doing the media work. She was on Larry King's today. She's doing the media circuit. She's doing the media circuit right now. Well, she's on all the tour shows. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be really good, man. I hope she comes to England, man. Oh, see Holly. See what's going on with Holly, man. Like you know what? At this point, she can become big, really big, just right now, and doesn't even have to fight again. Where she can just be an ambassador for women's combat sports. Just basically just do the tour thing, man. Because the amount of media attention. Do you know that the fallback from this, people are still talking about this? Isn't like how many days after the thing, people are still talking about this, man. It was like a massive media explosion, bro. So let's move on.
yeah, let's move on and talk what's happening this weekend. Cotto Canelo, that's the fight that got that's on the minds, I should say, of every boxing fan around. The fighting is Saturday in Las Vegas. I would say for the lineal title, but a couple of days ago, Cotto was essentially stripped for that belt. If Alvarez would win, he would become the new champion. But let's break down the fight itself. I'm going to go to you, Sean, on this one. First off, 50-50 fight for me, bruh. I can see scenarios where both fighters win. Your keys.
Well, I mean, people have been talking about the obvious things. I mean, Canelo's younger, Canelo's bigger. But then you can go the opposite way and say Cotto has experience. He has the better resume. I mean, as we see it, this fight is tending to be a bit of a pick 'em fight, depending on what you like. And sort of, I guess, if you grew up a Cotto fan, obviously you're going to ride with Cotto. Me, I always like Cotto, but at this point in careers, I just think Canelo, he has the more package that he's bringing to this fight. I mean, he is younger, he is bigger. I think that he's going to end up breaking Cotto down, because Cotto, significantly in most of his big fights, he's broken down the second half of fights. And I know people will say that, well, Canelo has stamina problems, which is fine. I mean, if Cotto is going to be pushing him. But with Cotto pushing him, he's also going to open himself up as well. So this is where, he has to walk a fine line. He is going to have more energy, and he's going to be able to push the fight, especially with Canelo, who does pick and choose his spots. But in doing that, he's going to open himself up for big, powerful counter shots. And, I think as the fight goes along, he's going to get broken down and probably stopped later on in the fight.
What you need, you love to talk about strategy, the subtle nuances of the sports, in particular of a particular fighter. Give a breakdown right quick of Canelo and Cotto.
Man, this is going to be interesting, man. Like everybody's been saying, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I rack my brain. Canelo Alvarez, counter puncher, combinational puncher. James Kirkland comes to him. He does his thing. If he got to go get you, he tries to go get you. He learned that fighting Erislandy Lara, a very slick boxer, fighting Austin Trout, a very slick boxer, southpaw, both southpaws, very difficult style, and he still fared, reasonably well. Sometimes people say, well, he didn't get a definitive win. True, but you got to understand those are two very difficult styles, because you're dealing with a southpaw, and on top of that, a slick, skilled boxer, right? who has range, length, and jab. Okay, Canelo's not as long as those guys, and he still was able to get inside of the jab, even against Erislandy Lara, land some body punches. You know, he landed a headshot that, you know, put a mark on Erislandy Lara's face. You know, and so you look at that and you're saying, okay, so he could possibly go get Miguel Cotto if it's necessary. But Miguel Cotto, on the other hand, you know, he also has skill. He's not just a boxer, because almost everything Miguel Cotto does, you notice he sets it up, right? He's a boxer. He's not really a brawler. He's strong. He's physically very, very strong. You saw his fight against Floyd Mayweather when everybody said he was done. He came and produced a really great performance against Floyd, had a kind of not so great performance against Austin Trout, you know, who Canelo had, you could say, a better performance against Austin Trout. And when you look at Miguel Cotto now, after his win against Delvin Rodriguez, against his win against Sergio Martinez, his win against Daniel Gil, yeah, Daniel Gil was weight trained. Yeah, Sergio Martinez had bad legs. Yeah, Delvin Rodriguez, you know, he wasn't really all that great, but he had never been stopped before. When you put into consideration, you still have to take into consideration the style and what Miguel Cotto was doing. I mean, if Miguel Cotto was shot, he wouldn't be able to take advantage of those situations if you really think about it. So, and on top of that, remember, he's kind of putting down much bigger guys. We're talking about guys now who are middleweights, full-fledged middleweights in Daniel Gil. That's a full-fledged middleweight, okay, 180-something pounds. So when you think about it, Miguel Cotto has power. He has skill. He's seen it all. And his style, though it's a pressure fighting style, he's able to use pivots. You see some of Floyd Mayweather and what he does, how he pivots to his left, or he can go weak side and pivot to his right. So while Miguel Cotto is not very good at fighting backing up, he can move to the side and he can pivot to the side. So these are some of the tricky things that had me bothered, because I'm like, if Miguel Cotto doesn't come straight up to Canelo Alvarez, he starts approaching him at angles, Canelo Alvarez will have to turn with him. And Canelo Alvarez doesn't foot pivot, he hips pivot. He pivot with his hips, you know what I mean? So it's a really intriguing thing, because Canelo Alvarez, you can't really hit Canelo flush. If you look at the fight Canelo versus Floyd, as Floyd says so correctly, Canelo don't take risk. Miguel Cotto take more risk. So Miguel Cotto might get caught with the uppercut by Canelo, and you know Canelo, what he did to James Kirtland with that uppercut. So I mean, it's a situation where you could play out a million different scenarios, and you still can't really say who's definitively going to win in this fight, you know?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. You kind of having a nerding out there. What you did, I could just hear the excitement within your voice, like your mind just popping scenarios all up inside your brain there. I could just hear it through the mic. So I can tell you really looking forward for this one. I'm going to you, Jacob, then Daniel, and then lastly to you, EJ. Each of you gentlemen, break down the fight.
What you need brings up a lot of good points. I have Cotto in this fight. I've never really been too impressed with Canelo yet. I think, I think a lot of Mexican fans are so desperate for that next great Mexican fighter that they've latched onto this kid that's been pushed in front of them. I think he's a good kid. I like that he takes challenges, like, the fights that he has taken through his career, even being so young. And he has some skill. I just don't think he hasn't shown me enough to make me think that he's going to win this fight. Can he win this fight? Yeah, he can win this fight if Cotto makes mistakes and he capitalizes on those. But I think Freddie Roach and this new second half of his career, Cotto is going to listen to Roach and do the right things, use his jab, use his body work, go in and out, and we know Canelo's going to take off rounds like he always does, so half those rounds are going to go to Cotto if he's smart, and I think he's going to just break him down. But again, Canelo does have, I'm not saying he has no shot. I just think if Cotto does the right things, he has all the more the skill, he has the better footwork, speed's probably, maybe Canelo, they're probably pretty even. Power, I think Canelo has some power, but Cotto also has some power. So that's my take on it.
Jacob and then EJ.
That was Jacob.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Daniel and then EJ. I'm sorry, my bad.
not a problem, not a problem, man. Okay. When I looked at this fight, I looked first at the last two losses between these two guys, and then the three fights they had before, to see if there was a pattern. I say Cotto's last loss was against Trout. Obviously, Canelo's last loss is Mayweather. With Canelo, it was just a case where he was put in there too soon. Like he wasn't able to ever adjust to Mayweather's pivoting, Mayweather's style, Mayweather's defense. And he just, when he got close, he just stood there and just allowed Mayweather to take the shots necessary to win. And he schooled the kid. With Trout, with Trout and Cotto, it brings up a couple of things that I noticed about Cotto in his losses. He has trouble with people that are bigger than him, noticeably bigger than him. Because if you saw the fight with Trout and Cotto, Trout is noticeably bigger than Cotto. And like I said, the same thing with the Margarita fight. Margarita's obviously bigger than Cotto. He has trouble with that, and he has trouble with people that aren't really intimidated by him. Like the last person, like I said, with Pacquiao. Pacquiao's smaller than Cotto, but Pacquiao's never intimidated by.
Excuse me, when you just say bigger, are you talking just simple height or just overall size?
Overall.
Okay.
Overall, yeah, not taller. Yeah. Overall bigger, yeah. But that's the thing. Freddie Roach has made Cotto go back to the body punch. He has him now moving towards the left when he pivots more than what he's done before. And it's done great things. With Canelo, I think he's figured out more of the combinations. He's pretty much throwing the body punch at every single combination he throws now. And like I said, he's not afraid to get in the scrap. It's an interesting fight to pick because they both have the thing that the other guy does, that the other guy is flawed at. With Cotto, he has that experience, and he also has that footwork that can give Canelo problems sometimes. With Cotto, we know that Canelo's going to be bigger than him, and we know that Canelo's not going to be intimidated by the moment. Because let's face it, Cotto's not the biggest fight that Canelo had. So he's already used to the big stage. He's not going to be intimidated by the bright lights. It's a tough fight to break down, but I think it's going to be Canelo, either by decision or late round stoppage. I know people always say that oh, Canelo, he can't last more than 4 or 5 rounds. His legs are going to get tired. But I think he's worked on it enough for this fight that he's going to start breaking down, because Cotto has the same issues. He's going to start breaking them down. He's going to hammer to the body, and it's just going to slowly break Miguel Cotto down. It's not going to be like an overwhelming win for Canelo, but it's going to be a win that's noticeable.
EJ
Cool.
Boxing Live, what's the word, brother? What you got?
All right, man. So this is a fight of two things, right? To me, is can Canelo get to Cotto? Can Cotto go the distance with Canelo in terms of using his boxing skills? All right, that's the way I see it. I see if Canelo's gonna win, ain't no one gonna tell me that Canelo can outbox Cotto. That's not happening. I don't think any of the experts are saying that. It's not happening. Canelo has not enough. He's not slow enough. He's just not a better boxer than Cotto. Cotto to win, Cotto will be looking to go the distance to try and outbox him. So here where we change now, we get more in detail, right? At 154, which the fight is going to be in, and they're probably coming up bigger, who has had the better resume and will better fights at 154? You got to think at this point, I think Canelo. The reason why I say that, against the Trout one, right? Cotto got completely schooled against Trout, where in the other hand, where Trout, I had Trout actually winning that fight, but they obviously Canelo won that fight. Look how Canelo handled Trout in terms of power when he started to land, beat him up. Now Mayweather, let's talk about Mayweather comparison between Mayweather against Cotto and Mayweather against Canelo. Well, look at Cotto blatantly had a better performance than Canelo against Mayweather, so that's another comparison there. Then we're talking about knockout percentage. How many opponents has Canelo knocked out at 154? How many opponents has Cotto knocked out at 154? That's a zero. He hasn't really knocked out anyone at 154. What he's been doing is getting guys from 160 and bringing them down to 154, and then draining them and knocking out Gil, which I don't credit. I don't. And the Martinez one, I don't like that one. I know it's a win, right? But that's Martinez's and Gil's fault. They shouldn't come down, but they did, and they win. Cotto, and that's how Cotto's been getting advantage. He's not got an advantage in terms of power against Canelo. It's the same situation with the Margarito situation. Can Canelo get to him before Cotto can outbox him? Now we think, okay, Cotto is really a huge puncher, but he hasn't really knocked no one out. Okay, the only one he knocked out at 154, I can remember, was the Jewish guy, the one he won the belt off. Other than that, at 154, he ain't really knocked no one out. At 160, these guys have been draining. So it's a two thing. Can Cotto outbox Canelo? Can Canelo get to him? So my prediction is Canelo late stoppage round 10. Like, people feel like you must be crazy. No, to be honest with you, if Canelo can keep putting pressure on him, which he's gonna be trying to do, he's gonna get hit in the process, right? But he can hit hard. Yeah, he's gonna try and put a lot of pressure on Cotto and try to stop him. But if Canelo can't stop him round 10, then Cotto's gonna win on points, man. But I can see Cotto taking a lot of punching. People are gonna be surprised how Cotto's punch is not gonna have that much effect as what people think they're gonna be. You know, if people think Cotto's a massive puncher that way, I disagree. I don't think he is. Against Martinez, whose legs already down, and he went down a couple of times. The Jewish guy, I can't remember his name. His knees were terrible. Cotto bashed him up. Daniel Gill. Yeah, there you. Thank you. Yuri Foreman, who bashed up, and then Daniel Gill, who got beat up by Triple G. Nah, man. No, I'm not giving it. Cotto hasn't got the power edge, and a lot of people understand that for Cotto to win, he's going to outbox him. So,
EJ, who has Canelo knocked out at 154?
He's not that thingy. Kirkland. He's not that Kirkland. He's not that loads of opponents at 154. But what I'm trying to. We don't need to get into nuances of thing. The bottom line is this: Kirkland's at 154 and he knocked him out. What we're saying is that the heavier puncher is Canelo. No one can dispute that. The better boxer is Cotto. So then again, you're going distance or you're going to go by knockout. It's as simple as that. And if I'm going to it, I'm going with the guy who can bang. I'm going with Canelo late. But I'm telling you, if it goes after 10, then I'm going to Cotto win on the distance. And that's as simply how I see it. That's my breakdown.
Let me add this. That's one thing I didn't like about Cotto. Like, when he moved up, he picked guys to win titles that pretty much had bum knees. With Yuri Foreman, bum knees. Sergio Martinez, bum knees. So he really didn't beat a champion at those two weight classes at their best.
True. But he did beat Ricardo Mayorga, and he did avenge his loss to Antonio Margarito, though.
Mayorga doesn't count.
Yeah, any fight.
No, Mayorga has to count because Mayorga beat what's this guy name? The welterweight champion who got shot down.
Vernon Forrest. Look how much he got exposed after that. Come on.
That was
Tito Trinidad was the first guy to chop him down.
Yeah, but the thing with Mayorga
No. Corey Spinks beat him before that.
Yeah,
you're reaching. You're reaching.
He didn't get knocked out by Corey Spinks. Remember, it's how he knocked out. He's talking about.
Yeah, but my point is he got exposed.
Come on. Yeah, man.
What I'm saying is,
what
I'm saying is, if you're gonna mention James Kirkland, who ain't win nothing, you better mention Ricardo Mayorga.
Well, when's James Kirkland ever been knocked out or stopped? Who's ever stopped him before? Okay, Machida. But other than that, who else has stopped him?
Came off of a long
Machida, the non-puncher.
but he came out of a long layout. When he went in there, he didn't go in there with Iron Wolf. Everyone knows Jane Kirkland going in Iron Wolf is a different fighter. But
he came off a long layoff. And
was
a brawler who knocked out somebody.
You answer the question. The question is Cotto a bigger puncher than Canelo at the weight? He's not. Canelo's a bigger puncher. Everyone knows this, right?
Well,
some of those.
But I don't know.
No, it's not. No.
The point he's trying to make is who is he knocked out?
No, it's not.
Who is Canelo knocked out? That's the point.
Who is Canelo? Canelo has look what Canelo did to Thingy's face. Look what he did to Lara's face. Look what he did to Trout's face. Look what he did to Lara's face in that fight.
Are we talking?
They didn't get knocked out.
Are you
No,
talking?
I agree with you, but listen,
And he
but
did
Cotto,
knock out Shane Mosley.
who was Cotto knocked out? Who was Cotto knocked out at 154?
Antonio Margarito, he stopped, and Ricardo Mayorga.
Come on, man. Come on.
Supposed to be Mr.
I'm not even gonna. That question right there. I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even bother with that one. I wouldn't even bother.
Well,
answer
my
that
point
one.
is, I don't bother about James Kirkland either.
If that's where you're going, if that's where you're, no,
You can't
listen.
bring up James Kirkland, and I can't bring up
Listen,
Antonio Margarito.
No, you can bring up who you want to. I'm just trying to say I'm not even gonna dignify even answer that question. My point is this, yeah. If you're gonna see, that's why I said it's a two-way thing. Look, man, this is the way it is, yeah. It's a two-way thing. If Canelo could no way outbox Cotto, if anyone's telling me that, I don't need, they're gonna have to tell me, right? Canelo is the bigger puncher, and he fades later on in the thing. This is where Cotto boxing skills will come in. But this is what I'm trying to say. Canelo has to knock him out, and that's it. That's all I have to say about it. Pure and simple.
I hear you on that. I agree with you on that.
For me,
To some degree.
fascinating fight, fascinating styles going in. On paper, for me, the advantages to me are with Cotto. Yes, he's older, but he's a better boxer, to EJ's point. He has power to at least keep Canelo off of him, at least for a certain amount of time.
Good job.
Though Canelo is a bigger. He can move. He can move and do things similar with Roach training him, similar to what Tim Bradley did against Rios. The way he can pivot to a certain side and kind of hide from guys. He can do that against a Canelo who, I don't care what anybody says, he's weakened getting down to that 155 pounds. And he doesn't have the legs, particularly late. So he's susceptible to getting hit in spots where if his body was full, if he was 100% physically, he wouldn't get hit because he would get out of the way. He would have the legs to get out of the way and avoid shots. But my problem is I do not know whether in Vegas with Canelo, the A-side fighter, which in a fight that really Golden Boy desperately needs for him to win, I do not know whether Canelo will be able to get a decision if the fight is close.
Canelo or Cotto?
Canelo. I don't think Cotto can get a decision in a fight that's reasonably close because Canelo's the A-side fighter, because he's the house guy, because he has, Cotto, he's getting a lot of bank, but in this situation, let's face it, to me, Canelo is more the A-side guy.
They're trying to get the torch passed. That's what this fight's about.
To Jacob's point, they're searching for the next Chavez Sr., if you will. So all scenarios pull towards Cotto because of the skill set. I just do not know if the fight is reasonably close, whether he will get the decision. I just don't know.
He's the underdog. Canelo's the underdog on the betting. On the betting odds. He's the underdog. So
I just don't know.
Cotto's the underdog. Cotto's the underdog.
No, in England, in England, Canelo's the underdog right here.
Oh, it's the opposite over here.
Yeah, stateside. Stateside, Cotto is the underdog.
I wouldn't be surprised, like all of you saying that Cotto pulls it off because he has everything to pull it off.
The question is, will he get the credit? Will he get the credit at the end of the day? That's the thing.
Well, he'll get the credit if the fight goes and it's a decisive win, and even the judges have it for Canelo. Everybody's gonna know that who won the fight. I mean, the real boxing fans and people that are honest and unbiased will know who won the fight.
And also the question for me
that's happened many times before.
At age 34, I think Cotto is 34, 35. He's been doing what he did against Martinez, what he did against Gale in recent fights. Can he do it 8, 10, 12 rounds? Hard fighting.
Against this young buck.
Right.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. Because Canelo takes times off. Canelo takes time off, and Canelo lazy sometimes. You know, he takes
he only has
rounds
to
off.
do it for 6 rounds because Canelo's going to take half the fight off.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I think you got a point there. You got a point there.
Exactly.
I hope that Cotto's not banking on that at this point. I hope not.
Hey, he's not.
Yeah,
Coach
he's
and him are smart enough. They're not going to bank on that. They got a game plan.
Yeah, but Canelo does. He's been doing it in all his fights. He just takes rounds off. He just goes to sleep, man.
And again,
Stop.
the weight situation, it has to take an effect where it just completely takes everything out of him. Because I don't care what he says, he's not a junior middleweight. He's not a fighter, a 155-pound fighter technically. He's a middleweight, a good middleweight.
You think it's possible Cotto could drown him in deep waters and stop him?
It could. He could. Because I don't care what. Look. You can see it in fights once it goes some distance with Canelo. His legs are not there. He doesn't move.
Yeah, he fades.
He doesn't move like he doesn't move like he did 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to point out one more thing too, is that we know Canelo can be hurt because Miguel's brother had him hurt in their fight, and I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I thought Martinez was going to beat Cotto, but Cotto had Martinez hurt. I mean, even before. I mean, we know his legs were all rubber, but he hurt him. He hurt him, and he was hurt bad. And that's what changed that fight. I mean, that and the leg. But I mean, again, I think a lot of people were saying, you can't give them credit for this and that. Hey, these fighters sign the dotted line, and they know what weight they're going to be at and stuff. So I hate hearing excuses that you can't give someone credit when they know. I mean, it's not like they get called up that day and say, hey, you're going to fight at 154 tonight at the Garden. I mean, they know whether they can do it or not, and so they have to take some of the blame in that when they take fights. That if they don't look good or if they get starched, then that's still a legitimate win.
I like how Martinez is so classy. He always says no, don't take away from his win. Cotto did his thing. That's what I like about Martinez. We all know his legs were bad though.
Yep.
Let's move on. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on quickly, fellas. On the same card, the return of Guillermo Rigondeaux fighting Dreon from Francisco 10-round bout. As we talked about last week, Rigo signed a deal with Rock Nation, so they put him quickly back in the ring against Francisco. I know you made a video, EJ, about this bout, so I'm gonna hand it over to you and give you the floor right now. Because don't think just because I didn't hit the like button or retweet it, I didn't see it. I'm gonna give you the floor right now. I need you to
make some good points.
Explain yourself, sir. Explain yourself to the boxing crowd, sir.
All right. So this is the thing. This is the way I say it, y'all. I went in and looked at this dude he's facing. What's his name? What's the dude's name again? Thingy Francisco. What's his first name?
Dreon Francisco.
Dreon Francisco, right? So I went and looked at this dude, and I know he's been knocked out. He's been fighting in this month. I think this month he's fought like 2 times, but he's been active, right? And he got knocked out in 1 round. He came back and knocked the other guy. But the thing is, the guy's been active. He was supposed to fight Rigo a long time ago. He's a heavy-handed dude, man, and he's active. He knows how to bang punches. He's knocked people out late in rounds, man. If Rigo's not keeping his eye on the ball, they're gonna be upset. And this is why I say they're gonna be upset. First and foremost, Rigo ain't fought since December of last year. The year's nearly over. We're in bloody November, so that's almost a year. Another factor you got to factor in: he's 35 years old. Nothing I factor in. I'm watching his workout, and Rigo didn't really do too much. Yeah, he's skinny. Little guys in shape, but 35 years old in his weight class and inactive. These are not really good signs. The odd makes the other guy, Francisco, a massive underdog. If I put 10 pounds, which I'm gonna probably do tomorrow, I get 190 pounds back. It's almost 200. That's almost 200. It's crazy not to do that, because look at this, right? Yeah. Let me say, if there's gonna be upset, this is a time to upset. You know what I mean? Like I remember when Andre Ward was gonna come back here against Paul Smith. I knew Andre was probably gonna win that one because Paul Smith already lost a couple of times, and it was like if Paul Smith, if not Paul Smith, what's his name? Thingy Smith was gonna fight Andre Ward. He should have jumped on him from early rounds. He let Ward get a rhythm and Ward beat his ass. Now this guy. Francis, he need to do the same. If he wants to beat Rigo, you can't let Rigo warm up, bruh. Rigo ain't been at the ring. He's inactive. You need to jump on him from early. So, man, it's only $10. I don't know how much is in American dollars, but for me, I think, boy, the upset could be there. And if you're going to talk about upset, Ronda Rousey, this is a big upset that I think boxing people will be shocked at. If you're going to do it, this guy can really hit. I was watching his fights, I didn't get his last 2. but I caught one of his third fights. He stopped one guy in the 5th round. He's got a wicked uppercut, boy. Lightning uppercut that Rigo keeps his high guard. He can take Rigo's head clean off. Now, no factors or Rigo, in all of his fights, he's been down. He was down against the Japanese dude who was not really a non-punch, even though he was heavier. He went down twice in that round in the 7th round. Rigo's been down a lot of times in this fight. But this dude, if you go down this fight, you ain't going to get back up. This dude's going to punish you, the Filipino Francisco. So I'm thinking the upset. I don't want Rigo to lose. And if Rigo wins, I don't mind. But I'm telling you, for anyone who's going to bet money down, this will be a good bet for anyone. It's not much. You're not losing too much. What is $10? What is £10 compared to the reward you would get back if Rigo was to lose? So it would shock the boxing world, but you'd be like, "Oh shit! I wish I bet my money down." So here's a chance now. If you're gonna put money down, do it now. Go ahead,
in a betting equivalent, this is like Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I called that one as well. And the thing is, I'm looking for these type of fights here that you have to look at all these factors. With the Holly Holmes thing, I called it. I said, as this didn't style, Ronda has to be effective. Now it's the same thing with Rigo. If the guy's gonna jump on Rigo, and I'm sure they must be thinking about it, they need to get Rigo jump on him early. You can't let Rigo set. Jump on Rigo, pull it on him, and try to take Rigo early in the early rounds. Because if he gets in the late rounds, Rigo is gonna damage you. So that's my take. And Rigo, listen to this now. Rigo's he's been distracted. If you see all the interviews, they ain't talking about their opponent. Nope. What are they talking about? Lomachenko, talking about this, talking about that. He just got his new contract. I see Rigo with some brand new gold shoes. This is a perfect time, boy. Like when Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas when he went to Japan. They weren't even talking about that. We're talking about Evander Holyfield. So I'm calling the upset, and anyone who's any smart, put some money down. Even if you lose, what do we really lose if we lose $10 or £10? What do we really lose? So that's my take, bro.
I'm gonna open it up quickly to everybody else. Thoughts on EJ's comments about this fight and the return of Rigo specifically.
I think EJ makes some compelling arguments. I mean, I give him props for the video he did. I did watch that, and I think he's right on a lot of these things. I'm not. I mean, if I was in a state that had bookmakers and stuff like that, I'm in California, but I don't. We don't have a not like in Vegas where I can go and lay down some money. But I would take that bet because I think all the points he made, Rigo, he should win this fight, but I do think that his head isn't all there. This other guy does punch hard, and if he can catch Rigo cold, anybody can go down. You get hit with the best, the perfect shot, then you're gonna lose your equilibrium and you're gonna go down. So I think it's a smart pick, and like you said, if you had $10, what are you losing? $10, but the reward is great.
Well, all I gotta say is hitting hard is one thing. The question is, can you hit this defensive fighter? He's a defensive fighter, so that's the question. I still pick Rigo to win, but like you said, it's tempting to put that £10 down. So I would put my £10 down. I put it down too. I love Rigo. I think you win, but I put my £10 down.
Damn tempted bet for sure. I'm telling you.
Oh, man. I'm thinking about it right now. But that's the thing. To me, Rigo's just too defensive.
Yeah, he's a defensive fighter.
He's too defensive. It's one thing you can hit him. It's another thing if you can try to hit him twice.
Right.
So I think, and let's face it, the layoff it isn't like an Andre Ward layoff where he's fighting the promoter, or like a Stiverne layoff because Stiverne just wants to be stupid. Layoff is mainly because people don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he stayed prepared in the ring. Yeah, and granted, he got that Rock Nation money. He almost got that Heyman money, but is gonna justify. I think Rigo's gonna win. I'm just glad he's back in the ring. HBO has to deal with him again. They're not gonna like it, but they're gonna have to deal with him again.
Right.
And it's gonna be a good fight. Cause guess what? Okay, you don't sign with Heyman. Okay, you lose the Carl Frampton fight. You sign with Rock Nation. You're getting the Lomachenko fight.
Yeah.
Good point. Really good point. I'm gonna combine some fights here as we begin to close the show down. Some but I'm going to combine some fights here that's also happening this coming weekend. In England, Manchester to be specific, you got the Darleyz Perez, Anthony Crolla rematch for Perez's lightweight belt. You also in Germany got Arthur Abraham fighting Martin Murray. The Perez fight, a lot of folks, particularly from what I heard in the UK commentary, thought that Crolla won easily. I thought different. I thought that Perez did some subtle things that wasn't given credit. Arthur Abraham, Martin Murray. Let me look. This is Martin Murray's last shot against an Abraham who's looked very good lately, but Abraham is an older fighter. You don't know when it'll be a scenario where he just loses it all. And if that happens, Martin Murray definitely has the skill set to take advantage. So I'm just going to open to everybody here. Perez Crolla rematch, Abraham Murray. Your thoughts on it? And this is for everybody.
Yo, they're all the English guys are gonna probably lose in these fights, man. Lose royally. I am telling you. Like,
you
people
going
say
against
I'm
the home
not.
nation, bro?
I go against the whole nation regularly, man, and England come looking for me after. They come looking for me in London. I'm not gonna lie, they come looking for me. But it's cool though, man. But the English guys are going out there to lose, man. Like, and if they win, I'm gonna be happy. But I just don't think after Abraham's, you know, he hits hard. Martin Murray's been knocked out by Golovkin, so he's still buzzing from that. Another thing about Crolla, Anthony the $1 million Crolla, he was attacked in his home previously before the fight, and you know, and people were so happy on his performance after he got attacked and was hospitalized. They were happy he got a shot, and because of that, they put a lot of money into it. Same thing like Paul Smith and Arthur Abraham. They're so happy about his performance, and they thought he was robbed on the card. That's why they wanted a rematch. But for real, for him to actually win this fight, Anthony Dolokhor, he's gonna have to. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I think Perez. I think he's gonna do a better job on Crolla and a cleaner job. So I've got the English guys unfortunately losing. There's not much betting odds on these ones here unless you're going by round. So if you're gonna bet, you're not gonna get much money back from it. The only thing you can do is even knock out by rounds, and I'm not really in for that. So, but if the English guys win, I'll be happy. But I haven't got both of them winning, so that's my take.
Ooh.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Murray might have a shot because he's a pretty tough bastard.
Yeah, but the defense of Abraham.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. And
High guard defense.
And you're not fighting like in Monaco. You're fighting in this backyard.
Yeah, that too.
So, but we got to see. Like I said, we got to see. With Murray, I think, like I said, I've mentioned he's a tough guy, but Arthur Abraham's been on a little bit tear lately.
And Murray doesn't have any punching power, does he?
Not enough to not enough to hurt.
And he's moving up to super middle, right?
Yeah, well, Abraham, you know, he's not the puncher that he was at 160, but he still has pop. A lot of it.
Yep. Yeah, remember, like, if Abraham wins this fight, this is the fight that Hopkins wants as his last one.
Right.
And that's something telling. When Hopkins wants you in a fight, he sees flaws in your style. So maybe, like I said, if Martin Murray's people are smart, they'll call Hopkins, be like, what do you see? Because you want to fight him. What do you see that's a weakness? And if they can exploit that, that's great. But let's face it, Martin Murray isn't exactly known for his skill. He's known for his toughness.
Right. Even though he did give Sergio Martinez a pretty good run.
Oh, man. I love my Argentinos. I love them. But, yeah, Martinez lost that fight to me.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I thought he lost, too. Your thoughts, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I'm going with Murray in this fight. I don't think he doesn't have any skill. I agree. He also beat Martinez, but it was in Argentina, and so we all know what happened there. And he showed some good things in the Golovkin fight, even though he got outclassed. I mean, Golovkin's just one tough son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You know, Martin Murray doesn't have power, but I think, you know, he did enough good things in that fight to make me think that he has a chance to win this fight. And Abraham, you know, he is on kind of the later part of his career too. So, I mean, he does have some power, and he could potentially, you know, land a shot and and put Murray down. But I'm picking Murray in this fight.
Any thoughts on the Darleyz Perez Crolla rematch?
I think Perez will probably take it. But that, I mean, I think it should be a decent fight, but I think Perez will take that fight. But just one last thing. I just want to say thanks to you, Mike, for doing this podcast. I think it's really great, and I try to tweet it out and I put it on my website and try to get the word out. I think you do a really good job, and the personalities you have on here, everybody's real knowledgeable, and I really love listening to it. It's become one of my favorite ones to listen to. But I have to go, so I'm gonna cut out right now.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to shut the show down, and I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think with that, we are going to shut the show down. On that note, on the kind words of Jacob, once again, thank you again. I'm going to go around the table here, around the panel here, give everybody a chance to give shout out the information, whatever they do, all they do boxing-wise or anything else. Join us live from Trinidad. What you need for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up. And mention and talk about briefly your series, your multiple series you got going on your channel.
Ooh, yeah. What you need on YouTube is WATTUNEED, and we also work with many YouTube groups. Of course, we know about EJ Boxing Live, Pound for Pound Boxing Report, and several others. And there's Floyd Mayweather TV series. We're still doing it, man. We're still doing it. We're still trying to get it done. And also a number of others, but I like the one which is Boxers Not Talked About Much. Of course, we also got the Roberto Duran, Jose Luis Castillo series that is coming out. It's coming, folks. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
If you're still there, Jacob, for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yeah, you can get me on Twitter at JRATM23, and I also am a co-founder and writer for JabHookBoxing.com. So again, you can hit me up in those two things. And I wanted to give a shout out actually to EJ
presents
and tell him he does a really good job. I've been watching his videos and stuff. He's a funny cat. And also, I know Sean's not on, but I think he's had some interesting videos, and I've been following him, and I'll start to follow what you need and start to get that content too.
My UK boxing brother, EJ Boxing Live. For folks who want to talk boxing, Game of Thrones, basketball, since you are a coach, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yo, man, they hit me up, man. Hey, thanks, Japhook, man. I appreciate it, man. I think I'm on your page, man. Hey, it's good to have you over here, man. Like, talk for the first time. I appreciate all the love, man. No doubt, man. You can catch me EJ Boxing Live on Twitter and EJ Boxing Live on YouTube. On my Facebook, I only have kind of friends I kind of know or I've known for a while. I have a group over there, EJ Boxing Live on Facebook, but it's only to friends that I really like, and I kind of screen what kind of people go into my group. So I don't really advertise my Facebook, even though I do have one. So you more likely catch me on Twitter and on YouTube as well. But yeah, my videos these days are just like, I'm really into this like kind of betting thing. I'm looking for the underdog. I'm looking for that big money thing. After this Ronda Rousey, I kind of got a buzz for trying to put less money in and trying to get most money out. My other big bet, by the way, coming up is going to be Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. If you go any smart, you put your money on Dillian White. And I guarantee the upset is going to be there. I'm going to be at the press conference. I'm going to be there at the weigh-in. I'm going to trying to get the inside scoop. But at the minute, I'm saying that is going to be the next big upset if it's not Rigo coming up. So, yeah, stay tuned for that, man.
Here we go. Here we go.
Gotta make that money, baby.
Oh, man. EJ, you might get deported after that one.
Hey, you know what? No, this one's alright because you got two different ends of London, and both basically it's cool. So either way, I'm not gonna be. Either way, I'm okay. I'll be okay on that one. They ain't gonna get me on that one.
Daniel Carpio, for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
All right, folks. Like I said, hit me up on Twitter at Ruckus99. Like I said, talk boxing. I also talk mainly NBA basketball, and like I said, a little bit of football too. And like I said, I also have my own podcast with the folks at 4Boxing News. So if you follow them too, at 4Boxing News on Twitter, they got some good stuff. They got stuff from Ring Girls, and they follow MMA too. And we gonna give our own perspective. And Mike, we need to get you on Sunday, man, for post Canelo Cotto coverage. We need to get you on.
Oh, no problem. My work schedule is kind of flimsy. I usually work every other weekend, but sure, just let me know. Just hit me up on Twitter or here on G Plus, and sure, I love to be on. Just give me the time and what time you'll be on and whatnot, because I'm usually off every other weekend. So certainly we can do that. Sean, he had to dip out earlier for folks who want to talk boxing or anything else with him. Just go to Sean. Sean Newton, SHAWN Newton, NETWON, and check his channel out. He has observations. He has analysis, I should say, about boxing, about the sport of boxing, fighters, events, and whatnot. Pretty interesting. So check him out to see the love and the hate, because Sean gets hated on a lot, unfortunately. Well, yeah, he gets hated on a lot. A lot of folks like him, kind of polarizing in that regard. So check him out for his channel, his analysis on the sport of boxing. For folks who want to talk boxing with me or anything else, you know what it is. Brother JR on Twitter, Brother JR76. If you want to find out more about the Pound for Pound Boxing Report, again, go to the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. That's the link. Just look to the right of the blog page. You can find links to find us all over the internet and the webs. YouTube, G+, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, the Pinterest board, the RSS feed, the link to find all previous episodes of the podcast on Podomatic, where to find us on Stitcher Radio, where to find us on Flipboard Magazine, as well as the email address, p4pboxingrpt@gmail.com. I'm going to take next Thursday off, of course, because of Thanksgiving. I'm not doing the show on Thanksgiving, so I'll take that day off. We will return in 2 weeks, where we will talk not only Cotto and Canelo, as well as Rigo, the rematch between Perez and Crolla, Arthur Abraham Murray, but we will also, when we return, talk Vladimir Klitschko and Tyson Fury. They're fighting while we're off. We also talk to James DeGale and Lucien Boutte. They're fighting as well. So we will have a power-packed show in 2 weeks. A lot of boxing to talk about. So I want to thank Jacob for joining us. Thank What You Need joining us live from Trinidad. Thank EJ Boxing Live for joining us from the UK. Thank Daniel Carpio for joining us. Thank Sean for joining us earlier from Taiwan. If you're wondering what Gail's at, the reason she didn't make the show tonight is because she's en route to Las Vegas to cover Cotto and Canelo, so that's why she's not here. She'll probably be back with us in 2 weeks, and just check out her stuff on Community's Digital News, where she will do a preview. She will be at the weigh-in. She will post pictures, and she will do a post-fight analysis as well. So check her out. Again, for What You Need, for EJ Boxing Live, for Daniel Carpio, for Jacob Rivera, Sean Newton. I'm your host, Michael. This is episode 104 of the Pound for Pound Boxing Report. See you guys next week. See you guys in 2 weeks, excuse me. Y'all have a good evening. Good night.
Peace.
Peace.